In other news, Mary Trump, niece of former President Donald Trump, came out with a phenomenal article in the New Republic recently where she basically, she psychoanalyzed a lot of her uncle's administration. But there's one part that I want to hit on more than others. And that is the part where she talks about the big lie, right? The big lie that the election was stolen, which, as she points out, Donald Trump began telling that lie on November 7th, which was the day that the 2020 election was officially called for Joe Biden. And on that very day, he started the big lie. And of course, he had all the horrible people whispering in his ear that, oh, yeah, you got to do this. Giuliani was there. Mark Meadows was there. All these individuals, even some private lawyers telling him, you've got to challenge us. You got to say it was fake. And Mary Trump says that the reason her uncle did this is because he was absolutely humiliated by the fact that he lost the presidential election to Joe Biden. All this was his hubris, not allowing him to accept the fact that he lost to somebody like Joe Biden. And so he had to, as a defense mechanism for himself, create this alternative timeline, this alternative reality, where in his head, he actually won the election because of all the fraud. So we had the election challenges. We've had the recounts. We've had to go through and recertify. We've had the signature match. We now have the ballot audits. And all of it, she points out, is this defense mechanism to protect his bruised ego. The humiliation that he still feels to this day for losing that election. But the problem is his delusion, his defense mechanism, is not just limited to him now. It is, in psychological terms, a shared psychosis now, right? It has seemingly infected millions of others who have now been sucked into the delusion to believe that the 2020 election was stolen. I mean, how many polls have we seen just over the last 2 months showing a majority of Republicans now think the election was stolen? That's a terrifying thought. I haven't seen any polls in the last couple weeks, so maybe that number has changed. Maybe it's gone back down and you don't have a majority of Republicans thinking that anymore. But the fact that we ever did, that we ever even hit 60% of Republicans saying this, is terrifying. Because there was never any fraud. In fact, the few cases of fraud that we found, the individual cases, all appear to be Trump supporters. That's what we're living with. But they still can't accept it because he won't accept it. And he'll never accept it. Till the day he dies, Donald Trump, every time he gets in front of a camera or he gets a microphone, is going to remind us that he thinks the 2020 election was stolen. He has done that this year. Every time he gets on stage, every time he has an audience, he says the same thing. Even though the ballot audits have produced no fraud, even though the recounts have produced no fraud, even though the lawsuits have produced no fraud, even though the Cyber Symposium produced no hacking evidence at all, no fraud, he'll never stop. And Mary Trump's explanation of this really lays it all bare. He won't stop because he can't stop, because his narcissism simply won't let him. I am Farron Cousins, in for David Pakman. We'll be right back with more of The David Pakman Show.
Do not forget that one of the best ways to support The David Pakman Show is by supporting our awesome sponsors. And today, one of those sponsors is Sheath Underwear. The weather is warming up. It's hotter. It's stickier out there. And unfortunately for many of us, that comes with a lot of sticking and rubbing and chafing with traditional underwear. That is what Sheath Underwear has solved. Sheath has developed unique boxer briefs with multiple ergonomic compartments in the front, preventing skin-on-skin contact. That means everything stays separate, dry, cool, and comfortable. With Sheath Underwear, there is no more sweating, no more chafing, no more readjusting. It's great. Sheath Underwear is giving the David Pakman Show audience 20% off when you go to sheathunderwear.com/Pakman and use the promo code Pakman. Give Sheath Underwear a try. My experience has been great. I believe yours will be as well. You can find the link underneath this video, and do not forget to use that promo code Pakman for 20% off.